Perfect. So I think we'll go ahead and get started. So I can start by kind of introducing myself. So my name is Layla, and I've been working with Careerspace for about a year as a student staff working as a special projects assistant. So kind of just getting together events, much like the one right now, which connects individuals from employers with students at Trent University. So thank you guys both for coming, and we really appreciate kind of adapting to this new virtual nature we're all having. But yeah, I'll give you guys the floor to introduce yourselves and share your screen to show your PowerPoint.
Maybe while Heidi's setting up the PowerPoint, I can start by introducing us.
Yeah.
So we're OPIRG. We'll go more into who we are in the details during our slideshow. And we're an organization that does a lot of cool things in the community, but really we're community oriented. So however the community feels about the direction we're going, what we're doing, that's really how we do the work we do. So we need community members and Trent members and volunteers to really guide us in order to do meaningful work. My name is Sam. I'm a board member of OPIRG. We kind of work on the same profile together as, I always forget the exact details of what our profile is, Heidi, so maybe you can go into the details of that. Go on.
So my name's Heidi. We're both outreach and liaisons. So we pretty much are like, we work with working groups, volunteers. I don't really know. I'm new. So I think we're all just kind of learning, especially right now with everything being virtual, how our roles are kind of changing.
For sure, things have changed a lot. Like outreach and programming has to do with like volunteers and has to do with tabling and contacting people and getting the word out for things. And now a lot of things have become more virtual. So things like social media are always important, but then also how do we reach people who don't have access to social media, and how do we kind of start doing that? These are all discussions that we're starting to have now that COVID's a thing.
So we are OPIRG Peterborough, so it stands for Ontario Public Interest Group of Peterborough. Some people think it's pronounced OPRIG, but it's actually OPIRG, but you can call us really anything. Here I was just gonna kind of say kind of my journey of how I started at OPIRG. So I actually just started in, I guess, like the height of COVID. I really wanted to get involved with Peterborough and the community since this isn't my hometown, and learn more about like what goes on through Trent and what goes on through Peterborough as a whole. And it's really made me appreciate kind of like the town we're living in. I didn't know that there were so many programs and outreach and stuff. So I really am proud to be part of an organization like OPIRG, and I'm still learning and meeting people every day. So Sam, I don't know if you want to discuss a little bit about your journey through OPIRG.
Sure, yeah. I really love that you have a picture of the original of volunteer fair before we did it virtual, because yeah. I actually just graduated from Trent in 2020, so it was a weird time to graduate, and the volunteer fair was where I was first introduced to OPIRG. I saw their Disorientation week little slip of paper in the O week bags, and it was something that I felt like I really connected to. Everything was kind of Zinester style, and the events all spoke to me in different ways, and I felt like I could really connect with different kinds of people there. So when I spoke to the people who were tabling at OPIRG and they said they had a couple jobs available, I was all on board, and I became an event coordinator for a school year, and then I continued volunteering with OPIRG. I just love how many different kinds of opinions and people and ideas show up into the space. I really love how we are consensus-based and non-hierarchical, and we also do anti-oppression training. And I've learned so much from just taking the different workshops and talking to different people. It's really been such an awesome thing to be connected to, and to know that there are other public interest research groups around Ontario and around Canada, because there's a TOPIRG, which is the Toronto Public Interest Research Group, and there's some in Carleton and I think some in Alberta, and it's just cool to figure out that there's a community beyond just our little version of OPIRG Peterborough.
So who we are, OPIRG works to create and sustain student and community-based engagement through research, education, action on social justice and environmental issues, challenging oppression in all its forms, and using consensus-based decision-making in a non-hierarchical and accessible setting. So what we offer, we have volunteer and board member opportunities right now. We are currently hiring, which I discuss later on. We have class placements. Right now, with COVID, we're sorting out our two programs of the free market and green dishes, which we discuss later. We have research projects. We have events like Dis-O is happening right now, and workshops. We have personal development training, funding for community initiatives and working groups, like the Seasoned Spoon used to be a working group, which is pretty cool. Currently this week is our Disorientation week. It's a week of workshops, discussions, tours, and events that engage new and returning students. And it has been really rewarding listening to them. My opinion has definitely changed, and I've learned a lot more just in a couple events online. So we actually have 3 events left. So we have Building Connections Friday at 3, we have Sexy Bingo Friday at 7, and we have the Peterborough Poetry Slam Saturday at 7, and that one will be in person. There we go. So I just am going to talk a little bit about the events that are happening, and if you want to go and see them, you're more than welcome to. So Building Connections, it is happening from 3 to 5 on Friday over Zoom. So you can go to our Facebook link and it will be there. It is about navigating social spaces that aren't really accessible, like how to navigate through with accessibility. So it will be exciting, and I'm looking forward to that one because it's something I don't really quite know a lot about. We also have Sexy Bingo, which is being held by one of our working groups, the Trent Queer Collective. And so it's kind of like in the name, it will be pretty exciting. It's to learn about, where you'll be able to learn what your queer trans levies do and how we contribute to making Trent a vibrant, diverse place. We also have the Peterborough Poetry Slam, which will be, I think, outside Sadler House.
Yeah, I could speak to that if you'd like.
Yeah.
So Instigating Resilience is going to be kind of, instigating resilience through poetry and verbatim dance is going to be a pretty fun event. It's going to happen on the Sadler House lawn on Saturday, this Saturday, at 7 p.m. And it's kind of, well, like a way of looking at poetry and dance and seeing some performances that people have done. It's really based on the people who show up and how we kind of like, you know, the art that we bring and the art that other folks care to share. So it'll be really fun to see what happens as it grows and goes. If anybody wants to volunteer for that event, I'll be there tabling, and you're welcome to send a message to OPIRG and ask about volunteering. We'll all be wearing masks and following social distancing practices. So we'll try to make the space as accessible and safe as it can be. If you have any ways of letting us know how that could be more accessible to you, please send us an email.
And so these are just a couple of the programs we have going on right now. So we have the free market, and the free market is currently in transition, but it's actually a really cool program that we have. So it started in 2005 just from chart students who wanted to focus on anti-consumerism and anti-capitalism. So they would collect items such as books, clothing, household items, and they were all given back to the community for free. Since then, the program operated as a store for a few years at Sadler House in our OPIRG building, but due to COVID, we are currently trying to transition it back to a working group. So if you want to be a part of that, message OPIRG or Sam and I, and we'd be more than happy to talk about that. Our green dishes. So also a program right now that's going through a weird transition because of COVID, but it's a nonprofit dish lending service that reduces waste. We try to have competing market prices with like the dollar store. So rather than buying one-time plates and stuff, our prices are the same. And we're also looking for volunteers for that for our transition right now. So what else do we have going on? Our working groups, if Sam, you want to take over.
Sure, yeah. Working groups are super cool because it's a way of gaining skills in activism, gaining skills that are transferable to your workplace, gaining skills that can be put on, or, you know, putting cool stuff on your resume and just making your life enriched in a lot of different cool ways. Working groups happen by a bunch of people who voluntarily agree to work together on a common issue. We all share decisions and our responsibilities equally, and it's mandatory that we all do an anti-oppression workshop, a workshop on consensus-based decision-making, and let me just make sure I've got it all. Those are the only 2 workshops, but they're free and they're just run by people who are a part of OPIRG. It's really important that we learn about anti-oppression because every time you do an anti-O workshop, it's going to turn out a little bit differently. And that's the magic of learning about oppression. It happens in a lot of different forms. Oppression sucks. We can never know all the different ways that it shows up. So by joining a working group, you can learn about one of the many faces that is oppression. And the working group model kind of, if you're reading the screen, works because it allows for more impact. It allows for ideas, energy, and resilience between groups. It allows different groups of people to challenge more issues and see more direct action happening in their community, but also elsewhere. And it also helps because we can be allies for different groups and support each other. We can network and we can help support other groups by, you know, just like sharing logos or like postering for other people or collaborating on events. Thanks. So one working group that myself and a bunch of other folks helped create was the Free Crafting Upcycle Collective. It was really inspired by the free market and by working on building community and self-resilience skills. Things like learning how to repair things and share things and make your own food. Just like doing skills, like almost like home economics, you know, doing things that we all used to know how to do, but kind of are forgetting how. So we would take things from the free market and repair them. Or I used to do t-shirt modification workshops during our free market giveaway. So I'd take shirts and rip them up and make them look a little cooler or fit a little bit better for different bodies. And it also was fun because those things like challenge clothing norms of like who can wear what clothes. Clothes are just for anybody, right? So the Free Crafting Upcycle Collective was really cool because we just met on Fridays, brought a project, hung out, and this picture here is from one of our collaging workshops during Self-Love Week, where we kind of made visionary collages for different parts of our lives and what we wanted to do or just be at that moment. So Felix one of our members, Felix, wanted to make more wooden spoons. So that collage in the middle was his way of just kind of, you know, visioning that on a vision board. Yeah. So I could talk about the free market working group, which ironically I just noticed is also happening on Fridays. So bring a project if you want to talk about the free market and just kind of knit or sew or ask somebody about repairing things, because maybe there's some Upcycle collective vibes still happening. But we'll be meeting Fridays from 5 to 7 and Sundays from 3 to 5. We're in the beginnings of our working group meeting schedule forming. So we're going to have bi-weekly meetings, and they're kind of going to switch between days depending on what the group is feeling. But our first meeting is September 20th, I believe. Yeah. But I'll have to like post that date more seriously because we're still finalizing that. But keep an eye out, and if you want to join our working group meetings, you're always welcome. Trent Queer Collective is another working group. They were founded in 1987, which is super cool. They work together building and strengthening the queer community in Trent and the Nogo-Jiwonong Peterborough area. Lots of cool ways to get connected to other queer folks in the community, to learn about if you're questioning or if you're trying to learn. It's a great place to just connect with folks, and there's a lot of cool resources on their website.
Sam has been doing working groups for quite a while, and she's mentoring me. But one thing that I really appreciate about OPIRG is that how involved I've been able to be, especially as the newest member. It doesn't really happen that often, and like I'm just doing this right now, right? I appreciate that like my opinions and my voices are able to be heard, and I'm able to learn from other people's opinions. But right now we have 5 positions that we're hiring for, and the deadline is September 30th at 5 p.m. So for that, you can just go to our website, and it's posted right below, and we'd be excited to meet you and work with you. And then these are just our socials that if you want to volunteer and get in touch or learn more about the organization, just hit up any of these links and we'd be more than happy to talk. And that is all. I'm not sure if we have, if we're able to have, if anyone has questions that we're able to answer any of them.
Yes, we did have one question come in, just asking how to contact you for that. So you did provide kind of your socials and your email and everything. What would you guys say is the most direct way to get in contact with you guys?
Email or Instagram, I would say, or Facebook, but with phones, you're just always attached. So we'll get a notification somehow.
Perfect. So yeah, if anyone has any other questions, they're more than welcome to go ahead and ask them. But it looks like there's tons of stuff of all different kind of areas that you guys that people can get involved with you guys, which is fantastic. Because of course at Trent we have students who are interested in all different things. So it's nice to have that flexibility and that kind of different areas that people can focus on or choose to draw their attention to if they're most interested in one kind of thing.
Totally. Yeah. And one thing that we're trying to work on as well is recognizing that not everybody is always wanting to be on screens and can have access to some of the ways that the new forms of talking to people and reaching out to people are. So if there's ever ways that we can be more accessible in how we're reaching out to people right now, this is a really important time for learning. So opirg@trentu.ca is probably the best way to contact us, through email, because we have a phone line, but that's kind of, we have to go directly to get it and get the messages. And there's a bunch of hiccups that we're kind of trying to sort out. So this, you reaching out and letting us know how to help is always great.
So we did have one other question come in. So just, are the volunteer hours flexible, or is there a minimum hours required?
Sam, do you want to answer this one?
Totally flexible. It depends really on what you want to do. The thing is that we have to, it depending on how much you want to put in is what we get out, and it comes back for the whole community, right? So if we're not putting something into a program, it's not going to put out what we want from it. So if there's 4 people who are really, really dedicated, that's fantastic. But we don't want those people to burn out. We want to honor those people. We want to honor the program itself. So whatever you can give at whatever capacity you can give is fantastic, while also recognizing that maybe there's different amounts of capacity that different people can do, and whatever you can do, we're so grateful for, you know?
Perfect. And then we just had one last question, and then I think we'll need to, our time is running out, is just, does volunteers get any sort of participation certificate or like formal recognition for the volunteer experience?
Yeah, Heidi, do you mind if I continue speaking to that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah, so we've before signed off on if you're a high school student or a community member or you require something for placement, we've signed off on high school volunteer hours, community hours, different kinds of things like that. In addition to the Trent, what is it called?
The Cocurricular Record?
Yeah, the Cocurricular Record. So we can also create, you know, the volunteer position for the Cocurricular Record and pop that on there for you. You know, we just need to we'll discuss that more in detail with you as an individual for what you need.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much again for just coming and sharing kind of all the opportunities that are available within your organization. I really appreciate you guys taking the time of your days just to share with students, and I'm sure interested students will contact you guys and get involved in the many ways they can.
Perfect.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Bye, guys.
Bye.